Hey everybody, what is going on? Needs more drums. Back in a new little mini series. I just couldn't help myself. We're in SimCity4. I'm really excited for this. This is a little blast from the past. I remember this game walking into Target, with my mom when I was like, I don't know, 10 or something, and seeing this game on the shelf for like $20. Picked it up, popped it on the family computer, and just had hours and hours of fun with this game. It's simple to understand. It's easy to build big cities really quickly. Yeah, some of the mechanics are a bit dated, and there's a lot of limitations with the city design, but that's kind of what makes it fun. It's simple. It's anybody can pick it up and learn it really quickly and just have a good time. Sort of, I still come back to games like the original Roller Coaster Tycoon, from before. I think it was released in like 1998 or 99, and the game is still fun. The simplicity of the UI and the camera work and everything, it just makes it fun to play. It brings a sense of nostalgia back, which is why the city is named Nostalgia Hills. But anyway, so yeah, this game is old enough to drink at this point. It came out in 2003, and 21 years later, it is still fun to play. There's a really active modding community as well, which this playthrough that I'm going to do is actually just going to be vanilla. And the reason for that is I wanted to see if the base game was still enjoyable, in the day and age of City Skylines and City Skylines 2, which is currently kind of getting a bad rap. But, that kind of made me want to come back to this early city builder and see if it's still enjoyable with all of the, let's say, improvements that we've had in the city building simulation genre over the years. So we're going to play vanilla. If you guys like this series, again, it's probably not going to be too long, but if y'all like it, I'll probably do a modded playthrough as well, since it's so easy to install my mods in this game. You literally just drag and drop the folder, override everything. It takes 2 seconds, and boom, I have all my mods in the game. So I do have a lot of them downloaded. They're just sitting in a folder on my desktop, so not installed at the moment. So this is 100% vanilla. We are in one of the vanilla regions. It's the Fairview region, which is one of the base game ones. Not Timbuktu, like where it starts here, but another one. It doesn't have any cities in it. The region also doesn't have any of the big tiles. So in this game you can have small, medium, and big tiles. This one just has small and medium ones. So our goal is just to build, fill up a couple of the tiles, get a fairly good sized city built, and populate the region a little bit. I don't really have a set population goal or anything. I just kind of want to see what happens, see what we can do, how long it takes us to get to a nice looking populated region. So of course it wouldn't be a Needs More Drums series without something going horribly wrong and me having to rethink why I'm even posting YouTube videos, and this is no exception. So this is actually the second video that I recorded for this series. The first one, I realized just literally before I recorded this that the footage, the in-game footage, did not record. It was just a black screen, and I just had all the commentary and no in-game footage. So that's why you're seeing this, because I had to go back and tweak some settings, try to search the internet to see if there was a workaround. The game is so old, it's even though I have the Steam version, there's still some things that you need to do to make it run on a modern computer. And one of those things is making it run in windowed mode with the custom resolution and things. And so I'm sorry if the resolution looks a little bit stretched out. I tried to do the best I could to get it to fit the screen with my editing software, and I'm pretty happy with it right now. So yeah, I think it's all right. But the fact that it is a 20-year-old game, obviously it's going to come with some complications. So we actually, in the region, there's this whole nother very small, it's one of the small tiles, just a very small agricultural city built, and we'll probably take a tour of that in another episode, just so I could show you guys what I did. But no use going deleting and restarting. We were just one city in, and it was pretty small, and then I just kind of rambled on about what it was building, and the same spiel that I just gave about why this game is still fun to play. So here we are in our second city, and the goal for this is to this city is going to be sort of like a medium density kind of city. I'm envisioning a small downtown. I'm envisioning some, some heavy industry along the outskirts. And this is going to be kind of the first fairly good sized city of the region. So surrounded by this tile are some more smaller tiles along like a coastline, and then across the I guess it's like a bay or like a big river, there's some more medium-sized tiles, and that's going to be kind of the site of our biggest city. So for this one, I wanted to keep this relatively, not super huge, but again, not to give, I wanted to give it more of a city feel as opposed to like a rural feel. So that's why you'll see here we have this passenger train line, and we're trying to do some transit-oriented development here, filling out this area with some medium-density residential zones, some medium-density commercial and office, and hopefully, that will develop to create a nice little downtown area for us, and we'll expand that as we fill up some of this, some of the map with urban sprawl, and we got to go through and rezone, upgrade some of the zones, so to speak, into a medium density. We'll go back and hit that area first, and then kind of work our way out. And that's one of the things that I love about this game. It was so easy to upgrade roads. It was so easy to upgrade zones, and you just drag, literally rezone right over the existing zone, and it'll just upgrade when it levels up naturally. So again, that just really easy to make your cities grow really quickly. And part of it too is that the game pretty much only allows you to build grids, and yeah, there are mods that kind of work around that, but it's not as easy as City Skylines, where you can just drag any road any shape you want. It's a blessing and a curse, right? So it's really easy to lay out your cities and kind of have something planned and grow really quickly, but it also, there's no topography lines, so you can't kind of follow the landscape. I mean, yeah, I try a little bit to follow like some of the bigger features, like big mountains and hills and coastlines and things, but you kind of have to just it's a little bit more simplistic than City Skylines 2. There's not as much freedom to create unique shapes in this game, which I'm okay with. That's kind of the fun of it, just going around and kind of just dragging out this big gridded city and watching it grow really fast. Again, all part of the fun of this game. So we are off to a good start. We have a little bit of a making money in this game is a little bit of a it takes a little while to do, but then once you get to a certain point, it actually becomes pretty easy to keep a steady income. And so we haven't reached that point yet. We're still investing in some pretty big city services. So the last city that I built in this region, the first one, didn't have a central power station. It was just some wind turbines on some of the farms, and so we needed a power station. So I have a natural gas power plant in this city. That's really expensive. Obviously we have our high school and our elementary school that I think we already built. There it is. Okay. Yep. So we have our high school, we have our elementary school, and we're gonna have to add police, fire, some sort of healthcare. It's all just those initial expenses in the game to kind of increase the wealth level and bring people in. Those are just upfront costs that you have to bear, and we'll work through that. I believe by the end of the episode we actually do make a profit. So in this episode we're not gonna finish this whole city. It would take too long, and I didn't want to just have some crazy fast time lapse. I'd rather split it up into a couple episodes, and maybe even do some work off camera too. But again, the game develops quickly. The cities develop quickly in this game, but it still takes a little bit of planning, which we are trying to do. So we have this main avenue here, and I typically like to zone commercial along these large avenues, at least closer to these, around a certain area. Eventually we'll start to zone some residential up against those avenues, like you can see in the top right of the screen there. But for now we're going to stick mainly to commercial in this area, because there's this big four-way intersection. We're going to have a lot of traffic here. Obviously people won't want to live right up against a busy road. So another thing that I like about this game is kind of the reward buildings. So we get just randomly, they'll ask you if you want to build a church or build a cemetery or build, other stuff. And I think that's really cool. It's sort of like the signature buildings in City Skylines 2. Once you reach certain milestones, the game rewards you with some unique buildings that you can't just place down otherwise. So I always like that aspect of the game. I don't think I've ever really played through the game in its entirety, meaning unlocked literally everything that there is to unlock. So that might be a fun little challenge for us too, you know, see if we can see how far we can go in terms of unlocking some of these unique buildings and stuff in this game. You know, it'd be cool to actually, you know, make some progress in the game and do some things that I haven't done before. So really excited for that. But yeah, this is coming along quite nicely. So you'll notice we have a pretty hefty demand for some industry. So I'd like to zone out a mix of medium density and even some high density industry in these areas. And you can actually, if you hold down the control key, you can actually make custom sized. You can force the industrial zones to be like a custom size, right? So, you know, right there, like these agricultural ones, you just kind of zone it out, and it's just this one big zone. It can develop any way it wants. Same with any type of industrial zone, but you can actually hold down control and zone, you know, 2x2s and 3x3s and, you know, stuff like that, so that certain size buildings will develop. And so I like to do that sometimes. It helps make the industrial zone look a little bit cleaner, rather than just having all of these, you know, messy, small buildings just scattered around. It helps to kind of, you know, have them with a more designated footprint, I guess. So this area here, I'm a little bit unsure of what to do. With it being so close to the map, I don't want to zone it up too much, but I do want to make, you know, use of this space. And since it is, again, by this four-way intersection, I do want to, you know, have it, I imagine it would be a little bit more of a populated area. So I'm trying to, you know, work with this area accordingly, and still figuring out, you know, what to do here. And yeah, so here just laying the groundwork for our next little neighborhood expansion. And, you know, as you may or may not know in this game, you can't have diagonal streets. You can only have diagonal roads. So it's a little bit of a limitation when designing suburbs. You just kind of have to, you know, do some random right angles and things if you really want to make it look like a suburb. In this area, we're really not making it look like a suburb. We're sticking to a pretty rigid grid since this is still relatively close to the city center. Once we get up into that hill a little bit, I imagine we're going to build up there just a little bit. We'll get into some, you know, pretty whack looking suburbs. And yeah, I like that in a city, you know, having some residential blocks that really just don't follow any kind of pattern, because that's kind of how it is. You know, you'll take a big square area and then just kind of, you know, almost like a frame, right? And then just create all kind of crazy shapes inside of that square frame. So it's kind of how suburbs look, you know, if you ever look on like Google Maps or anything. That's what we're going to do, you know, when we get to that point. But for now, just, you know, laying the grid. I do like to keep my water pipes under my roads. I do this in City Skylines. I've always done this in SimCity. It's just been a habit of mine. And it's realistic, you know, water mains run under roads. They don't run under, like, you know, in between city blocks and underneath random buildings. You know, they keep them under the roads, like all the infrastructure. So it only makes sense to do it that way. You know, I always like to play a little bit as realistic as I can, you know, to some extent. So I'm not an urban planner, nor do I claim to be, but you know, there are some things that I feel like are just, you should just do, and that's one of those things. So no worries there. But yeah, expanding on our commercial zone, that's one zone that I feel like doesn't develop super quickly, which is cool. I usually try, I know in City Skylines, I try to keep my commercial zones around 50% demand. This game, it's not as easy to do that. I feel like, you know, if I zone a couple of tiles, you know, it goes down drastically sometimes and not so drastically some other times. So it is what it is. We'll just, you know, expand as we see fit. See, now we have like a negative commercial demand. So there's my point. But anyway, yeah, you'll see just a moment ago, I threw on one of those traffic overlays. I do like that aspect of this game. You can have these overlays that show you different, you know, different sets of data around your map, like your air pollution, your traffic volume, you know, if there's like a lot of crime, everything like that, you know, so you can actually really quickly and easily see some key aspects of your city. And the traffic one is especially helpful because it shows you if there's any roads that need to be upgraded or not. And we do upgrade a few roads later on. But yeah, here you'll see, again, some of these zones just using that control technique to manually make the zone size there. You can see that I did that on the left of that road there and right there too. So just a cool little nifty feature if you didn't know that. 20 years later, and I'm still learning, new things to this game. And yeah, it's actually, I know I touched on modding a little bit earlier, and I'm sorry if I'm rambling. There's just, a lot to say about this game, and it's exciting. But if you are not aware, like I said, there is a very active modding community, and they actually just kind of, I'll use the word discovered, a new way to mod this game using, I think it's DLL or DDL, like script mods, so it actually allows modders to edit like code that's really deep in the game, like for example, like you can categorize certain groups of buildings, right? So like within the parks menu, instead of just scrolling through all the parks, people have started to create almost like sub menus and things like that. So there's tons of cool things happening now, still new mods being made, great game-changing mods being made, that are allowing this game to still, move forward, and there's just new things constantly being added. And so it's super awesome to see a 20-year-old game like this still have such a strong community. The forums, the Simtropolis forum is still really active. I know the SC4 Devotion site shut down a while ago, but people are actively trying to consolidate those assets and buildings and mods that were available there. They're trying to consolidate them on Simtropolis to make them easily downloadable for everyone. And it's just there's so much work being done behind the scenes to keep this game alive, and it shows. It's really, really cool. I remember, this is one of the first games that I really modded, and it was one of those things where you just get hooked, right? You see a building that you're like, oh, that's cool, or like the NAM, like the network, add-on mod, you can get new roads and things like that. You're like, oh, this opens up so much potential. And then, you see these buildings, you go, man, I want, one of those. And you go, well, now I have, these new shops. Why not get some new houses? And then it's, oh, why don't I get some new industry buildings? And then before you know it, you're downloading 7 gigabytes worth of mods, and custom buildings and assets and things. And it's just awesome. Your city looks, totally different, and it totally changes the way that you play the game. And, for better or for worse, depending on your play style, sometimes I would get a little too carried away, but nonetheless, still fun. And like I said, I'd like to do a modded series as well if this goes well, which, I'm really enjoying the game. It's great to come back to with all of the negative, feedback around City Skylines 2 and everything lately. It's nice to kind of come back to something different. And don't worry, we're still going to do plenty of City Skylines content, both 1 and 2. Definitely 1, finishing up Brzezinski, and 2, I want to do some kind of fun little challenges, with the game to really kind of, just since it's, not super great right now to just build like a whole series. There are some other things that I have planned that I think will be pretty fun. So stay tuned for all that. But yeah, this is definitely going to keep going for a little bit. Like I said, thinking about just, not too long. It's not going to be like 30 or 40 episodes or anything. I'm hoping to keep this to like 10 episodes or something like that. Just a fun little playthrough of a game that really sparked the city building genre and is still fun to play. So with that being said, we're only got a little bit left on the build here for today. So I'll just leave some parting words saying, if you don't have SimCity 4, go give it a try. If this brings back, some memories for you, you're welcome. Really, really fun game, and I'm so happy to be playing it again. And like I said, 20 years later, still kind of holds up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Give this video a like if you had enjoyed this little time trip back to the early 2000s. And if you have not subscribed yet, please do so. That would mean a ton, and I appreciate all of you who have subscribed already for the support. We're almost at 1,000 subs, so always trying to keep it going. But anyway, as we finish up here, I hope all you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you back soon in the next episode of whatever it is that I'm gonna post. You know, might be this, might be City Skylines 1, 2, or Farming Simulator. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a great week. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.